What's up, Sim Racer Larry, tjrsim here, and today I wanted to talk about this cool little box called the Sigma Cortex and get it in the right light here. Sigma Cortex, this is a really cool little box. I picked it up so I can play Gran Turismo or actually any other PlayStation game using my Simagic hardware. So, just a disclaimer, this is brought to you by Larry at tjrsim. Bought this with my own money to do a review for y'all. And yeah, let's dive in, see if it's worth your money. All right. Alrighty, so let's begin here. So there's a few things I want to cover. I want to cover the install, how do you install it, settings, gameplay, how it feels, what I feel when I'm playing it. So a little bit over the shoulder. I don't have in-game audio for the PlayStation because I just never bought the little converter for it. But then my final thoughts and stuff. So all right, let's get into it. So let's dig into what you got here. So you got this shiny Sigma Cortex Pro, and you want to get it hooked up. First of all, you need to update the firmware. It doesn't come updated. So first up is you download the instructions. You get them from the Sigma Cortex website. Download them. I have them up here for your convenience. But here it says upgrade. Connect the Sigma adapter to your PC using the USB cable. Launch the upgrade program, select Sigma, and then click upgrade. Sounds simple, I know, but it's not simple like that. But it doesn't tell you where you really need to go to get this stuff. So I'm going to tell you what you need to do. What you want to do is go over to the Discord channel. Get my mouse over here in the right spot. Go to your Simagic official Discord channel. Simagic supports their stuff. And go down here at the bottom where you see software releases. Within here, this, of course, you know, different ones, right? You know how a computer works. Just scroll down to the bottom, which is the last one entered in here. This is your beta update. Now, don't be scared. Beta is actually not an official release, but it really is like an official release. It is one that works for you with the latest drivers. This particular beta, actually, since 1.5, it allowed you to hook up your peripheral shifters to it, like your DX8 or your sequential shifter. Neat thing is that I actually have my handbrake hooked up, my DX8, and my Q1 sequential shifter all, of course, into the CAN bus. It recognizes all of them simultaneously while I'm playing Gran Turismo 7, which is really cool. Not all games recognize that all as one device. You have to switch settings. For instance, Crew Motorfest, it works great with that as well. But I have to switch in the settings of Crew Motorfest if I want to use H pattern or paddle shifters, right? So it's easy enough, right? So you can switch back and forth. But in Gran Turismo, you can just on the fly just grab your H pattern shifter and start using it if you want to. And it works as a sequential at that point. Anyway, so go here. When you click on that, it will, of course, come to this site right here. And here you got the Sigmas, all the betas here. And you also have, this is just a drive that they share for you. But none of this is in the instructions. So you have to dig for it, right? So I'm here to help you. Anyway, download the version 1.17 and let it come on up into your computer. A virus was detected, so you can't download this file. Oh, that's just great. What is that? Really? Downloads. Try this again. Download. Scanning for viruses. Well, isn't that interesting? Download this one. All right, so I already have it downloaded, but I didn't get this message in the beginning, so we're going to pivot. We're going to run with it, right? You probably need to turn off your antivirus. Now, I haven't had any problems with viruses from downloading from here from them, but I could get how it could be scary. But now you're watching this video before you maybe bought it or after you bought it, but this is what happens. So I downloaded it, and I will show you right here. I have the Simagic version 1.7. It has some patch notes here. If you open it up, it'll give you some patch notes, which basically just says that it is, that it's modified. This is just my notes here, what I wanted to talk about. That it's modified to support sequential shifters. So no big deal, which is good, actually. Anyway, you want to run this program. Double click on that. What comes up is this. Now it says none. If you click on this arrow, it should show your firmware. It should show your Simagic. It'll say your Simagic. Well, I actually don't have it plugged into the PC right now. I have it plugged into my PlayStation. But had you plugged this into the PC, you should see a selection for the Simagic, not Simagic, but the Sigma Cortex just pop up here. And you click update, let it run through there, and you're good to go. That's it. You're done. It's updated. Then you can unplug it from your PC, plug it into your PlayStation and all your peripherals, of course, into the top, and you're ready to go. Now, if you never see that option, like now, since I don't have it plugged in, and you just get this option here, and this is why I didn't want to plug it in correctly to show you, because if you haven't plugged in your PC, you'll see it. However, I did that and I still didn't see it. It just said none. And I go to update and it doesn't update anything, right? It just goes through it goes through this. It just acts like it's updating something. I don't know what it's updating. And it closes out. I thought I was good to go, right? But you're not. You have to actually see the Sigma Cortex as a selection to update that. If you don't see that, the biggest problem I've seen is G-Hub is the you call it? Where are you at? There we go. Is the G-Hub software. So if you didn't see that, the problem is this G-Hub software. Apparently there's a big issue with G-Hub and Sigma Cortex, and it doesn't G-Hub doesn't allow you to go into it. So if you have that problem, you have to uninstall your G-Hub. Uninstall your G-Hub, then it'll let you update that Sigma Cortex just fine, and then you're good to go. And then you can reinstall your G-Hub and everything's fine. I did that and it was fine. I actually, even after I reinstalled my G-Hub afterwards, I plugged in my Sigma Pro to see if it would recognize it on PC, and then it did. So I don't know, there was something hanging up on G-Hub, but that is a known factor. G-Hub seems to interfere with the actual updating or selection of your Sigma Cortex. So that's all there is to know about it, right? You're updated, you're ready to go. Rock and roll. Let's go on the next. Okay, so we've got the Sigma Cortex updated. You unplug it from PC, you got it sitting in your hand. Now you need to hook it up to your PlayStation. It's just like you see here in the instructions here. Your power wire, USB-C cable that comes with it will plug into here. The other USB into any of your open ports on your PlayStation, whether it's on the front or the back, it doesn't matter. And then you plug in your wheel, your Simagic wheel into here. Instead of it plugging into your PC, you plug it into here, and then you're ready to go. Now, if you have multiple peripherals, you can plug them into all the ports here. All of them having to be Simagic, that is. It only supports the Simagic part. So if you have sequential shifter, you can plug it into there. The DX8 there, the handbrake there. So you got enough ports to do them all. However, I use the CAN bus. So if you're using a CAN bus, I do recommend a CAN bus. Makes your life simpler, uses up less ports on your PC. For when you're just doing regular PC, go check out Apex SimRacing, affiliate of mine that I refer you to help gives me kickbacks, turn some money to buy more stuff so I can do reviews for you. Okay, but I suggest that one because if you don't know, consoles have to recognize only one device. They don't recognize multiple devices, hence why you have all these hookups to get you covered. But if you have the CAN bus, all your peripherals from Simagic are plugged into your CAN bus. Take that CAN bus USB cable, instead of it going into your PC, you plug it into here. Any of these ports doesn't matter. I plug it in this bottom one here, just because the way I have it set down. So we got this hooked up now. Theoretically, your wheelbase or your CAN bus plugged into here. Power to your PlayStation. You're ready to go. Let's get into some settings. Okay, so settings. So don't be scared. It doesn't take a whole lot to do any of these things, although it does seem like there's multiple steps in this video. But here's your settings. This is actually from Facebook themselves, Sigma group. You can go to their Facebook channel here and notice what's the latest and greatest data, right? You'll notice here the total force here is 100%, max torque 100, wheel rates is 5, smoothness, and so on, right? What I've noticed when you play Gran Turismo 7, I went through all these settings individually and see what was what, right? And what you find out is, well, first of all, when you hook up this to your PlayStation, you come down here to where it says radio channel. It says 78 here. It's going to assign its own channel to you, and that's the channel that is you. So don't worry about setting that. That will set automatically for you. Current memory slot. That means that you see these selections here, whatever you change on here, you are saving it automatically to the current memory slot 0. If you hit the this little button here on the side, you'll when you are highlighted, see how this is highlighted here, gain force. As you move these arrows up and down, that moves up and down the list here. When you get down to the current memory slot, hit left or right, of course right to advance to the next one, memory slot 1. Any changes you do to that one will be saved on that, and so on, right? Pretty simple. Reset just resets that current memory slot to what default is. So if you lost your way, you can hit reset. Center calibration, that is when you, of course, you got your wheel centered up here, and you click that button to center your wheel when you're in your game, right? No big deal, pretty straightforward. The rest of these are actually just like what would be on your Simagic software that you're used to using already, right? Total force, max torque, 100%. What I've noticed is they both they should match each other. I run them at 75% on both of those. Those feel good for me. Wheel return speed, 5%. 5% is, let me see what I have. I have 5% on mine. What I notice is some cars for these on 5% is, oh, sorry, default used to be 20%, and it's just too springy for me. And it reacts to the wheel rotation return speed is just really too fast, and it almost springy to where it just actually isolates going down the straightaway. Anything at 1%, you need at least a 1% to have a little bit of a spring back effect. Otherwise, it's too much drag, is what I noticed. But 5% seems to be a good happy-go-lucky, where most of the time you're not getting wheel oscillations going down the straight. But some cars you will get that. Just depends. So it's something you have to live with if you like that. If you don't like it, you have to live with it. You can actually turn it down to 1 or completely off at 0. You will have no oscillation of the wheel, but it'll be heavier steering, right? And in that case, you're going to want to adjust other things like your mechanical inertia, your friction, your damper, and all that. You want to turn those off so you have the wheel lighter, right? But in the end of the day, when you're actually driving the car on the track, 5% actually works pretty good. Generally, you're not supposed to take your hands off the wheel anyway. That's a really good setting. Smoothness, 3. I've tried them all. 3 seems to work the best across all of the wheels that you are, all the cars you drive on the Gran Turismo 7 here. I'm just talking about Gran Turismo 7 settings here. It did work really good, these settings actually, as well with Motorsports, Forza, I'm sorry, the Crew Motorfest. And these all work good for them as well. Wheel rotation, 900 degrees. That's actually best to set it at 900, and that's what they recommend. However, 540 is another setting. I noticed on GT3 cars, 540 works better because you'll see the hand rotation of your car. It doesn't match what you're doing itself. And so then you actually have to turn quite a bit further in those cars to match. But keep in mind, when you have it at 900, your force feedback and your readout through the wheel feels more natural at 900, to where when you go to 540, your degrees of rotation, of course, is less. Hence, when you get those force feedback effects, they react really quickly to you, and it almost feels somewhat like noise in some cases, right? So just keep that in mind if you're feeling a little bit like it's too juddery in some cases up your wheel rotation. It does make a difference on this, more opposed than it does actually on PC. So this is what I noticed. Mechanical spring, 0. I don't want any spring in there. Damper, they go 10%, friction 15, inertia 0, central damper is 50, feedback detail 20. It used to be 9, and then Simagic updated theirs to 20. I run 20 as well. Feedback frequency, I run it as the same as my smoothness. It does promote some of the smaller frequencies and smooths them over a little bit to where they're not so harsh or noisy. Feeling through the wheel, it gives it more of a rubbered in pneumatic feel to your tires and stuff going over curbs and stuff, is what I noticed. So I'll run it the same at 3. Game spring, I run it at 0 as well. Look at mine again here. Sorry, feedback frequency, I'm running at 4 on mine. Game spring, damper, friction, and inertia, I'll run at 100. This is the same thing as the game settings in your actual software itself from, let me see if I can pull it up right here. From, click on it right there. Oops. No. There we go. Move it over here. All right. So that is the same as this setting here where you go to other effects, mechanical spring, center damper. These are off. Game inertia, game spring, game damper, game friction. That's these settings, same as it is over here on the screen that I just showed you. So that's what it's talking about there. I leave them on 100. I actually turn them all off as well. I have good effects with it off as I do with them on. However, with it on, I do get a little bit more dampening feeling. In other words, it feels less harsh, less robotic feeling through the wheel when I leave them on, as opposed to when I leave them off. When I leave them off, then I'm having to add more damper and more friction on the other side of things to smooth out some of the noise that I'm getting. So what I determined it was basically leaving them all on 100. That actually works good. So it's just taking 100% of what the game is giving you and just using that as a default as a setting. And then you can, of course, layer on what you want on top of that, right? Which would be your smoothness and your feedback frequency. That's pretty much it. So just to run down through the settings of what I got, I'm going to look at my little device because I have it here at the bottom. Again, just to let you know, I run total force at 75, max torque 75, wheel rotation speed is 5, angle is 900, wheel 900 for all road cars, 540 for GT3 cars. Mechanical spring 0, damper 0, mechanical friction 0, mechanical inertia 0, central damper is on 0, feedback detail 20, feedback frequency is 4, gain, spring damper and friction and inertia all on 100. And then soft lock I just leave on default, so that's just however you want it to feel, either firm or soft or default. I leave it on default. That's the wheel rotation when you hit your stops, right? And radio channel it gives you that when you plug in, and then of course your memory slots, whatever one you're saving on. So that's it for actual setting up the Sigma. That's the settings I run. Spent lots of time trying them all out. They do make a difference. Chasing my tail with some of them. So take it for what it's worth. Try it out and see if you like it. Now, all right, so the second part of settings is actually the setting of your wheel itself. So as you see here, depending on what wheel you have, FX Pro, FX, GTS, there's a setting for it. They don't show the actual GT Neo as well. They don't show it here, but there's settings for that out there as well. However, what you notice here, since I'm using the FX Pro, we're just going to run with that one for now. R3, R2, R1, all of these buttons, of course, automatically are mapped to your wheel itself. So when you have your Cortex plugged in, these are all working out of the box, supposedly. I say that because before I updated my Sigma Pro, or Sigma Cortex rather, and I plugged it in PlayStation just to see if it would work. It worked fine, but it'll pull the Logitech like G923 settings. It doesn't pull what you really want, which is the Fanatic DD Pro settings, which will enable all the newtons that you have as far as whatever wheelbase you're running, the Mini or the Alpha or the Alpha Ultimate, right? I'm running the Alpha Ultimate. So you'll want to upgrade it. That's another reason to upgrade it as well. But what I'm getting at is that these little dials right here worked before I did the upgrade. So hence beta, right? so those don't work for me. It may work for you. I don't know. Drop a comment if they work for you or not. After the update for the Sigma, they didn't work. So what I ended up doing is I'm sorry, pointing the wrong one. These little dials here, these inner dials here. So rotary, clockwise, counterclockwise, and that's so you can switch from in Gran Turismo 7 from your maps to your traction control and so on, right? Diff and all that. So, and then the one on the left, this little button here, this dial on the left is your plus or minus. So you can go plus on traction control or minus and so on between each one, right? Those didn't work for me after the update. So I just assigned my R2 and R3 buttons and L2 and L3 buttons to do essentially the same thing. So how I did that is you don't even have to go through the Sigma, I'm sorry, the Simagic wheelbase stuff. Whoops, I'll leave that up. I'll pull this one up here. You don't have to sign it through here. I did just as an exercise because I wanted to see what worked where. I assigned all these buttons accordingly. So it doesn't matter if you go through here and you assign this one as options, L3 as options. It doesn't accept it. The Sigma Cortex overwrites whatever buttons you have here. So really, this is just a copy and paste of what you get off of the pamphlet. It's going to assign these irregardless of what you try to reassign them. So you don't have to worry about that reassigning these like I did, or not reassigning them, but label them like I did. But I did just because I just want to know which is what, right? There is something floating around on the internet as far as, let me close this one off. This little pamphlet right here, which shows you the function of all the wheels, FX, FX Pro, and so on, right? GT Neo is on there as well. I had no use for this. I mean, it was neat to be able to know which button does what, but your software tells you that as soon as you click on it anyway. It's an assigned button. You can change that to be whatever you want, but it doesn't seem to have no effect on the actual PlayStation selection. Like I said, it pre-selects these particular buttons automatically, and you have no rhyme or reason, or you can't change it, right? So, but anyway, what I ended up doing was, so when you click on R, 3 and this and any of these numbers, oops, sorry, any of these numbers, it gives you the assign button that it normally is. I just put a label to it, left them the same, put a label to it. Like I said, I tried switching them around. After it goes through the Sigma Cortex, it doesn't care. But what was neat to do was that I saved this as the FX Pro GT7 setup, and that's just so I'll have the dashes that I want to use in that particular case. So now what you'll need to do is, since this clockwise and counterclockwise, which was stock, and the plus or minus on this one, which was stock, don't work, or if it doesn't work for you and you want to assign L2, L3 and R2, R3, you need to go into the software on the PlayStation GT7 itself. So with that, all right, it's future me. I wanted to break into this part of the video. I forgot to show you this part on the PlayStation. What's important to do after you have this plugged in and everything's set up, of course, is you want to configure your pedal calibration, right, as well. So let's do that. Alrighty, so as you see here, here's your pedal calibration here. When you come over settings here, you see options there. Go to options, go to controllers, and then you can select down. Here's my settings actually, as we're talking about it, for the Fanatec DD Extreme. This is what your now wheelbase is being recognized as. These are the ones I adjusted for the full settings here for you. Let's see, starting for the left, MFD. Everything else is stock, but down there at the bottom, the L3 is MFD adjustment down. So that's the one for L3, right? So the top one being L2, L3, change those two. And then MFD selection left, this is R2, and then R3 on the right. Those are the only four that I changed in this menu to be able to use these, right and the left, L2, L3, R2, R3, right? Instead of using these here. So, which oddly enough, it works. This dial works if I do this to select that, which is funny, right? Anyway, that's that setting. But to go on back out, go down to cancel. You want to go to your steering control settings here, hit X. And since I already did mine, but you do pedal calibration, click on pedal calibration, this is what you'll see. So when I push my gas, it's working. My brake is working, my clutch is working, my handbrake here is working, handbrake being here is working. My DX shifter here, DX8, is working when I go shift through the gears. And of course the steering wheel is working as well. And now when I use the sequential, nothing registers there for that. And same thing as when I use my paddles, nothing registers there, but it does actually register in the game. These are default as well. So this is another great reason to have the CAN bus, is because your paddle shifters in this recognizes as one device through PC normally anyways. So they keep up with each other, right? That's the nice thing about having the CAN bus. But anyway, I just wanted to interject and put this part in the video. It's very important to calibrate it. I do get much better pedal feel with the P1000s, as you can imagine, over the Logitech's Pro pedals that I had. So a lot more granular improvement, especially when you have to jump off the brake and your car will spin out on you because you jumped off too much. I'm able to modulate that release of the brake a lot more precisely with these pedals. So it actually makes a pretty big difference. The pedals is a huge difference in this game compared to using, say, Logitech ones. So, all right, that's it. Enjoy. All right, so next up here, I'll show you some over-the-shoulder gameplay and just explain what I'm feeling through the wheel. The force feedback is actually really prominent with the Sigma Cortex hooked up with the, I'm using the Ultimate, Alpha Ultimate from Simagic, and very prominent force feedback. Different than what I feel from my Logitech Pro, where that one has the true force effects that kick in. Uh, and so you have a little bit more like engine vibrations and stuff going on. Even after the update, you have just a little bit of them going on through there through that one. But I actually like the more clean feeling that this has. I don't know if I like it over the actual Logitech Pro. It's a wash to me between the two. If I have a Logitech Pro, I wouldn't bother buying the Simagic gear just to play Gran Turismo 7. However, since I run Simagic gear setups, it makes perfect sense to not have to switch off wheelbases to the Logitech Pro. And I don't feel like I'm missing anything by losing the true force on there. In fact, I have I have just as strong as a feedback as I did from the Logitech, but I have a real nice feeling of pneumatic tires and stuff through the wheel when I'm going over curbing and stuff. And I actually even still pick up the rumble or the road textures through there by turning up the game detail to 20. I'm still getting some of the road textures coming through. Now, not every track. Some tracks are super smooth. But others that are a little bit rougher and stuff, you get those oscillations and stuff through the wheel, which was really cool. So it doesn't feel canned like you get from the Logitech. So in that regard, it actually feels a lot better than the Logitech does running the Simagic stuff. So anyway, I'll set that up, give you some impressions as I drive. Let's get on with it. Alrighty, so as you can see here from the second camera here, we got the Gran Turismo here coming up. Nothing's working yet. I just have to hit the PS button, which is, I'll turn it sideways so you can see it, which just happens to be this button. So what it shows on that chart is what it signs. And now you can see I have access to roll it around, which is cool because you can actually use the encoder button down here to roll everything around to what you want. And then you hit the X button. If you want to rename them with some stickers or something on here, you could, but I predominantly use PC. So I don't want to put the X's and triangles and all that on here, but you could. All right, so let me go back to Gran Turismo. Got it selected. And I'll try to turn this on and see if this will, it's my headphones. I don't know if we'll hear anything. I don't know if we can hear it up there. I'll put it like that. Maybe we can hear the sound from there. I don't know. We'll see after recording. All right, so give you a selection here. I'm going to use, this car's fine, I guess, but I'll use this Alpine. It's a pretty fun car. It will go to Laguna, do this particular race, full course, GT Sophie, why not? Afternoon. I'm going to go 3 laps because I'm not really, that way I just have enough time to explain what's going on here. All right, so for settings wise, what I do, let me turn this down. For settings wise, what I end up doing here is I come over to settings, settings, controller settings. These are my settings that I use. I use open, controller sensitivity on 10. This really doesn't matter, but strong. Apparently 10, since the new update, is the way to go. It used to be 5. So you can get full rotation of your wheel. This is what I ran across someone saying. Now, force feedback max. Now, this is just really dependent on you if you want to set it through the Sigma Cortex or not. I run, like I said, the 75 and 75 on that. It seems to work fine. Or that was a good happy setting for me to where all I need to do is come here and adjust this force feedback max torque to where I like it. Sometimes I'm only running 4, just depends on the car. Sometimes I'm running as much as 7, depending on the car again. So 5 is a good happy place to start with. You really don't have much notion to tell when you're actually clipping on there, but you can tell on some tracks, especially Laguna Seca, when you're up on the top of the corkscrew and diving down the corkscrew, you have a real dead feeling there, a clipping feeling through your wheel that I just can't get rid of on that particular track. However, no matter what I set this to, it's just inherent to that track for some reason. So I just ignore the clipping that happens through that last corner there and I live with it, and I set this for the rest of the bumps. Now, force feedback sensitivity, this is actually kind of a damper for it, so you can up it if it's getting too much oscillation for you in the wheel. You can change it here to whatever you want. Generally never need to go above 5, but as a precedence, I set this to 1 all the time and leave it alone. The only setting I really want to mess with is force feedback, max torque. That's why I gave you the settings I gave you, because this is really the only setting you need to do per car to have a good time in Gran Turismo 7. So with your wheelbase. So anyway, let's get started. Now, some of the vibrations I don't get. See if this works here. Some of the vibrations, well, I'll just talk about what I'm getting here. So shifters and stuff are working, 6th gear. I'm feeling a lot of like road textures now going through here, especially through here. I felt that car hit me, but I feel my tires, I feel over the bumps as well. I feel my tires touching, oh man, that's a good hard hit. I feel my tires, I feel the road textures rather, right? Down here, I don't really feel anything on the road. As I turn in, I'm feeling my tires go across the pavement over those bumps. Of course, you feel those bumps from the cars significantly as well. I can't hear my engine, so I don't know what gear I'm in. Turning here, see where I had a front slide right there? It was a lot easier to catch on this Simagic than it was on the Logitech for some reason. So I do like it. I felt that dip right there going through that curve really predominantly. And then, of course, going up this hill, I do still feel the road textures and stuff and little bumps and oscillations in that. Nice little bumping through there. Curbing, I'm hitting there. Of course, you can see my wheel, what it's doing. Oops, turn in late. Passing some cars. I felt my traction given away on the traction there. Ooh, man. They corrected me, didn't they? So you're able to feel that limit of traction, I think, better now, because it's not covered with canned effects like I got from the Logitech stuff with the True Force going on. With that one, I have to turn it down a little bit. But anyway, it's not really a comparison video, but I just do want to. It is relative to that. I can't really compare it to Fanatic stuff because I don't have that on hand anymore. But what I feel there through that rumble strip through there, it's very pneumatic feeling, like the tires feel like you're really running over something, some bumps and stuff. So I really do like it. It feels really good. No complaints as far as that goes. Every once in a while, it feels a little dead going on because you don't feel like engine vibrations going through here. You don't feel those at all. There is no engine vibrations coming through here. Whereas the Logitech Pro, you would have some engine vibrations come through. Although since the update, very, very minimum, but they were still there. But yeah, other than that, it feels great with the settings that I have, the settings that I suggest you using. This is, of course, with the Ultimate. And keep in mind, if you want to have certain screens, you'll want to make sure that that feels good. You want to make sure that you have your hardware plugged into your PC first. Switch it over to your GT7 profile so you can have the screens you want if you're using, say, this FX Pro, and then then hook it up to your Sigma Cortex and rock and roll, and you'll be set to go, right? So that's the only difference with that. Now, if you don't have screens to worry about, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter, right? You will notice the RPM gauge. It doesn't. LED lights don't go all the way to the very end. It just doesn't do it here with this game. So I don't know why. And they seem to be bouncing off the rev limiter just so easy. Even though I'm like, I don't know, full throttle now, but you can see the RPMs up here. It's blinking here, although I'm not actual full throttle with the car, right? So that doesn't go in sync properly at all. Don't know why, but it is what it is. You are basically setting something up that wasn't inherent to the device. Now, if I'm using my Logitech Pro, it's an inherent device for this. All the RPM gauges and stuff work perfectly. So keep that in mind. If that bugs you, then maybe this is not the route for you. But however, it was a no-brainer for me to spend an extra $125 for this setup, or for that little box there, to be able to not have to switch my wheel back and forth from a wheelbase to Logitech Pro when I predominantly run Simagic. Man, that sliding of the front of the tires feels so good through that. I feel the oscillations going down this hill as well. And yeah, all the way through there, I feel the oscillations. It's like the tires are skipping across the pavement and stuff. It's not as smooth feeling as, say, I hate to almost say it, but Forza. Forza has a little bit smoother feeling to it with their mechanics, but the mechanics, you know, the force feedback and stuff is different in that game as well. Where that one tends to have a lot of uh, oversteer and understeer effects than, say, Gran Turismo 7 does. So anyway, that is it. That's what I felt through here. Not disappointed at all with this $100, $125 item. To use my Simagic stuff, having a screen with the displays I want, being able to see what gear I'm in as well. Of course, if you want to use VR, you can use VR as well. Doesn't hamper it at all. But yeah, it feels really good. I mean, honestly, it feels great. So yeah, I would suggest using it if you are a Gran Turismo 7 fan. Now, if you're like me, you run a D box, all the road textures or the engine textures and stuff are amplified even more because I have basically 4 badass haptic systems on here on each corner. Plus I have the motion. Although motion on Gran Turismo 7 isn't as good as it is on PC stuff. It's just the code, I guess, that's coming across the internet here because it's not a direct connection to your console. It's done through internet. You can see my videos on that, how to hook it up if you have one. It is a little bit not lagging, but not as clean feeling. So your settings are they're meh. But I was able to get them feeling pretty good, anyways, and not being so overzealous. But between those two is almost the ultimate GT7 setup between running D-Box and the Ultimate. The Simagic Ultimate is just very good, very fun setup to run, and yeah, with minimal effort really for that matter. So. All right, let's get on to the final thoughts here next. Alrighty, so final thoughts on the Sigma Cortex converter. Is it for you? Is it worth your $125? For me, it's a no-brainer. You know, it's up to you. You've already spent thousands of dollars on your Simagic hardware, whether you're running the Mini or the Alpha Ultimate, and then your wheels and your pedals and then your shifters and all that. What's another $125 to me? It's not a big deal. However, if you're penny pitching and you don't really play Gran Turismo 7, then of course not. You don't need to get it, right? But if you are someone that enjoys playing Gran Turismo 7, I think it's a no-brainer. You get the Sigma Cortex, hook it up as I said through the previous part of this video. And yeah, just go out and have some fun with it, man. This is a lot of fun. I play Forza a lot, and I play Gran Turismo actually more now than I did with the Logitech because I don't have to switch wheelbases back and forth. Because after all, I love using my Simagic stuff over the Logitech for PC racing. So yeah, it's just a little bit of fun off the side, you know, almost like you're cheating on real sim racing, you know, and playing some Gran Turismo or Forza on the side. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun to play. It's a lot more enjoyable. I'm able to catch slides a lot easier now. I don't feel these extra canned effects from True Force and stuff interrupting anything. And it feels very, like I said, pneumatic feeling. Like the way I have the settings here, when you're going over curbing and stuff, it's not just like jostling my wheel around and stuff. It feels like I'm legitimately, you know, pushing in on the tire going across these surfaces and stuff. And I was really shocked that I was able to feel the road surfaces going down the track as well. Because, you know, some tracks are buttery smooth and then others are rough. But you're able to feel those through this without True Force, right? So, and it felt more natural to me than that. And then, of course, when you couple, so you know, not everybody has D-Box, but you couple in, say, the D-Box to that, and it's like, man, it is just right there. Probably the ultimate experience running Gran Turismo 7 and stuff. So, but yeah, I really enjoy it. I do recommend to pick up that little shiny blue box there if you like playing Gran Turismo 7 on the side. Also, if there's other games that you like to play on the side that don't maybe work for PC, like for instance, Crew Motorfest in the beginning wouldn't recognize my wheel on PC. Now it does because I just tried it out again just the other day. But this works fine on Crew Motorfest on the PlayStation. So now I'm finding that if I find a better deal on a game that's like an arcade type game that I want to play on the PlayStation, I can buy it for a lower cost use my wheel to play it and be done with it, right? So, but yeah, pretty good. Like I said, I recommend it. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas and hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for sticking around to the end. And yeah, we'll see you on the track. I'm out.